I'm 63, and my doctor said these three sleeping pills were shrinking my brain, and I had to stop. Hello, I'm Diana Ashton, and I want to start today by telling you something that changed everything for me. For 15 years, every single night without fail, I took Benadryl. Just one capsule before bed. It seemed harmless. It was over the counter. Millions of people use it. My own mother used it. But 6 months ago, my doctor showed me a brain scan study that made my hands shake. And she told me something I never expected to hear. She said that the sleeping pill I'd been taking every night was literally shrinking my brain. That night, I stopped. And I want to share with you exactly what my doctor showed me. Because if you're taking sleeping pills, this might be the most important thing you watch this month. Let me be clear right up front. There are three common sleeping aids that research now shows can cause real brain damage in women like us. The first is diphenhydramine, which you know as Benadryl, ZzzQuil, Tylenol PM, and a dozen other brands. The second is Zolpidem, commonly prescribed as Ambien. And the third is benzodiazepines, drugs like Xanax, Ativan, and Valium, which millions of older adults have been taking for sleep for decades. And here's what happened when I found out. I'm going to give you the three safer alternatives right now so you know them before we dive into the science. Number one is magnesium glycinate, 400 milligrams taken before bed, costing about 15 cents per night. Number two is tart cherry juice, just 8 ounces before bedtime, which contains natural melatonin and costs less than $1. And number three, if your sleep problems are severe, is something called CBTI, Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia, which actually works better than any pill long term. But before we get into how to use these safely, I need you to understand what these three common pills are actually doing to your brain while you sleep, because the science is shocking. Let me start with Benadryl because this was my pill. Diphenhydramine works by blocking something called acetylcholine in your brain. Acetylcholine is not some minor chemical. It's one of the most important neurotransmitters your brain has. It's responsible for memory formation. It's responsible for learning. It's responsible for attention and focus. When you take diphenhydramine every night, you're essentially putting a dam across the river of acetylcholine that your brain depends on. In 2015, researchers at the University of Washington published a study in JAMA Internal Medicine. They followed 3,434 older adults for 7 years. What they found was that people who regularly used anticholinergic drugs like Benadryl had a 54% higher risk of developing dementia compared to people who didn't use them. 54%. That's not a small number. That's the difference between normal aging and a disease that destroys who you are. But there's more. Using MRI scans, researchers have actually documented that regular diphenhydramine users show measurable shrinkage of the hippocampus, which is the part of your brain that creates new memories. When my doctor showed me that study, she showed me an actual image of a brain that had been shrinking from Benadryl use. And she showed me a normal brain next to it, and you could see the difference. I realized I'd been microdosing my own brain damage every single night for 15 years. Now let's talk about Zolpidem, which is Ambien. This is a prescription drug, and it's prescribed to millions of older Americans every year. But Zolpidem works very differently from Benadryl, and in some ways, what it does is even more insidious. Zolpidem doesn't block acetylcholine. Instead, it acts as what's called a sedative hypnotic. That sounds medical and safe, but what it actually does is suppress the deep sleep stages of your brain. Here's what you need to understand about how sleep actually works. Your sleep has 4 distinct stages, plus REM sleep. Stages 1 and 2 are light sleep. You can easily be woken up. But stages 3 and 4, those are deep sleep. That's where the real magic happens. During stages 3 and 4, your brain is doing something remarkable called the glymphatic system process. This is your brain's cleaning system. During deep sleep, your brain cells actually shrink, and this creates little pathways between them. And through those pathways, cerebrospinal fluid flows, washing away the metabolic waste and toxic proteins that accumulated during the day. Things like beta amyloid and tau proteins, which are the same toxic proteins that cause Alzheimer's disease. When you take Zolpidem, you do fall asleep. You feel like you slept. But what Zolpidem actually does is suppress those stages 3 and 4. It prevents your brain from doing this critical cleaning process. You're spending time unconscious, but you're not actually sleeping the kind of sleep your brain needs. You're waking up groggy. You're stumbling to the bathroom. And research shows that people on Zolpidem have 4 times the risk of falling, which for women over 60 can mean broken hips and the beginning of a serious decline. There's something else about Zolpidem I need to tell you. Study after study shows that people who take it have significant next-day cognitive impairment. They're slower, they're foggier, they have worse reaction time, and many older women don't even realize it's happening. They think they're just getting older. They don't connect the dots that the pill they took last night is still affecting their brain this morning. I have a close friend named Margaret, 61, who was on Zolpidem for 3 years. She told me after she stopped that she'd forgotten what it felt like to think clearly. She thought the fog was just part of getting older. But within 2 weeks of stopping Zolpidem, her mind cleared. That's when she realized how much the drug was actually affecting her. Now, the third pill, benzodiazepines. This is where things get truly serious. Xanax, Ativan, Valium, these are physically addictive drugs. They work by enhancing something called GABA, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. GABA slows everything down. It's the brake pedal of your nervous system. When you take benzodiazepines regularly, your brain adapts. It starts producing less GABA naturally. You become dependent. And if you suddenly stop taking the drug, your nervous system rebounds. You can have severe anxiety, seizures, even life-threatening withdrawal symptoms. But beyond the addiction issue, benzodiazepines carry one of the clearest warnings in all of medical literature about dementia risk. A major study published in the British Medical Journal followed thousands of older adults over 10 years. The results were stark. People who used benzodiazepines long-term had a 51% higher risk of developing Alzheimer's disease compared to people who never used them. 51%. And the longer people had been on the drugs, the higher their risk climbed. Let me tell you what this means in practical terms. Let me make this real. If you are 65 years old, a woman, and you've been taking Xanax or Ativan for sleep for 10 years, the odds that you'll develop Alzheimer's by 85 are significantly higher than your peers who didn't take these drugs. Your granddaughter might have to help you remember her name. That's not hypothetical. That's what the data shows. But here's the truth. You don't have to stay on these pills. There are alternatives that actually work, and I want to walk you through them step by step. The first alternative is magnesium glycinate. Magnesium is a mineral that your body needs for hundreds of enzymatic reactions, but most importantly for our purposes, it's essential for relaxing your muscles and calming your nervous system. The glycinate form is important because it's bound to glycine, which is itself calming. It passes the blood-brain barrier easily. A dose of 400 milligrams taken 1 to 2 hours before bed is safe and effective for most women over 55. The cost is remarkable. You can buy a month's supply for under $5. That's 15 cents per night. Compare that to the price of a prescription sleeping pill and to the price of managing dementia. I started taking magnesium glycinate 4 months ago when I stopped Benadryl, and my sleep improved within a week. Not dramatically. I didn't feel knocked out like I did with Benadryl, but my sleep became deeper, more restorative, and I woke up clear-headed. The second alternative is tart cherry juice. Tart cherry is one of the only natural foods that contains melatonin. And melatonin is the hormone your body naturally produces to regulate your sleep-wake cycle. When you drink 8 ounces of tart cherry juice about an hour before bed, you're giving your body a gentle, natural boost of melatonin. Tart cherry juice is also high in anthocyanins, which are powerful anti-inflammatory compounds. So you're not just improving your sleep, you're reducing inflammation throughout your body. A bottle of tart cherry juice costs about $2 to $3 and lasts several days. And unlike sleeping pills, tart cherry juice doesn't have any downside. You can drink it every night indefinitely. Now, if your insomnia is more severe, if you've been on sleeping pills for years and natural approaches feel inadequate, there's something called CBTI, Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia. This is not talk therapy where you lie on a couch and discuss your feelings. This is a specific behavioral protocol developed by sleep researchers that has been tested in hundreds of clinical trials. The results are remarkable. CBTI is more effective than sleeping pills at improving sleep quality long term. But more importantly, it actually fixes your sleep. You don't become dependent on it. It teaches your brain how to sleep naturally again. CBTI involves a sleep specialist, usually over 8 to 10 sessions, teaching you specific techniques. You keep a detailed sleep log for 2 weeks. You learn something called sleep restriction therapy, where initially you only spend time in bed during the hours when you're actually sleeping, which sounds counterintuitive, but works powerfully. You learn about stimulus control, which means your bed becomes a cue for sleep only, not for worrying or watching television. You learn cognitive techniques to manage racing thoughts. And you learn about sleep hygiene practices. The whole program takes 2 to 3 months. Most insurance plans cover it. And when you're done, you have a functioning sleep system again. But let me get more specific about sleep hygiene because this is critical, and most people get it wrong. Your bedroom should be cool. 65 degrees Fahrenheit is the magic number. Your body temperature naturally drops when you sleep, and a cool room facilitates that. Most people's bedrooms are too warm. If your bedroom is 72 or 73 degrees, your sleep will suffer. You need to get it down to 65. Use air conditioning or open windows. Second, no screens 1 hour before bed. The blue light from phones, tablets, and computers suppresses melatonin production. When you're scrolling through your phone an hour before bed, you're actively preventing your body from making melatonin. It's like you're fighting your own sleep biology. Stop screens at least an hour before bed. This is non-negotiable. Third, keep a consistent wake time. This might seem counterintuitive. You might think that sleeping in on weekends helps you catch up. It doesn't. Your body thrives on consistency. If you wake at 6:30 a.m. on weekdays, wake at 6:30 a.m. on weekends too. This regulates your circadian rhythm. Your sleep quality will improve dramatically. Let me now talk about what to do if you're already on one of these pills and you want to stop. This is critical. You cannot just quit benzodiazepines cold turkey. Your body has adapted to the drug. If you suddenly stop, you can experience severe withdrawal, including seizures, which can be life-threatening. If you're on benzodiazepines, you must taper under medical supervision. Work with your doctor. The taper might take weeks or even months. You'll reduce your dose gradually, usually by about 5 to 10% every few weeks. Your doctor will monitor you. This is not something to do on your own. If you're on Ambien or other prescription sleep aids, the discontinuation is less risky, but still needs your doctor's involvement. Your doctor can help you transition to magnesium and tart cherry while gradually reducing your prescription dose. With Benadryl, which is over the counter, you can typically discontinue more quickly. Many people can stop taking it and simply start the magnesium and tart cherry the same night. But here's something important. The first few nights after you stop, your sleep might temporarily get worse. This is called rebound insomnia. This is your brain chemistry normalizing. It feels bad, but it's actually a sign that your brain is healing. Don't panic. Don't go back to the pills. The rebound insomnia typically lasts 3 to 7 nights, and then your sleep improves to something better than you had while on the pills. When I stopped Benadryl, I had exactly this experience. That first night, I lay awake from 2 to 4 in the morning. I was frustrated. I wanted to take the pill again. But I'd seen those brain scans. I'd read that study about the hippocampus shrinking. I thought about my future. I thought about my grandchildren, and I stayed off the pill. Night 2 was the same. Night 3, a little better. By night 7, I slept deeper than I had in 15 years. My mind is clearer now. My memory is sharper. I notice things I was missing before. And I'm not damaging my brain anymore. Now I want to zoom out and tell you why this matters beyond just you as an individual. Our culture has a huge problem with sleeping pills. In 2023, Americans filled over 63 million prescriptions for sedative hypnotic drugs. That doesn't count the over-the-counter diphenhydramine in all its forms. Millions of older women are taking these pills every night, unaware of the dementia risk. The pharmaceutical companies know about these risks. The research is in peer-reviewed journals, but sleeping pills are profitable. Marketing is expensive, and there's less money in selling magnesium and recommending sleep hygiene than there is in selling Ambien. So the message doesn't reach you. The culture doesn't change. But you, right now watching this video, you can be different. You can make a choice based on evidence. Here's what I want you to do. If you're on Benadryl, Tylenol PM, ZzzQuil, or any other diphenhydramine product, talk to your doctor about stopping. Bring up the JAMA study. Ask your doctor about magnesium glycinate and tart cherry juice. If you're on Ambien or another prescription sleep aid, schedule an appointment with your doctor specifically to discuss alternatives and a transition plan. Don't just keep taking it. If you're on benzodiazepines, please talk to your doctor about tapering. Don't stop suddenly, but start a conversation about getting off them. And if you're not on any sleeping pills, but you struggle with sleep, before you ask your doctor for a prescription, try the non-drug approaches first. Try the magnesium. Try the tart cherry juice. Set your bedroom to 65 degrees. Stop screens an hour before bed. Keep a consistent wake time. Give it 2 weeks. You might be surprised. There's one more thing I want to tell you. I almost didn't make this video. I thought about it for months. These are serious medical topics. I wanted to make sure I was getting it right. But I kept thinking about all the women like me, relying on sleeping pills every single night, not knowing that their brains were changing, not knowing they were slowly increasing their dementia risk with every capsule they swallowed. And I thought, I have to say something. I have to tell them. So I did. And now I'm telling you. Next week, we're going to talk about something equally serious and equally overlooked. We're going to discuss 3 warning signs of a pending stroke that most women over 55 completely miss. These are symptoms that doctors see all the time, but women dismiss them as stress or age. I almost missed these signs myself. If I had, I wouldn't be here right now. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that video. And if this video was helpful, if it changes how you think about sleeping pills, please share it. Share it with your friends. Share it with women you love who are struggling with sleep. They need to know. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next week.